Okay, boys and girls. So all throughout this year, we have learned in a story that we can have a main idea and we have supporting details, right? We've learned that. When we read a story, we can also learn that there's a central message, or there's a lesson in the story. So this just means that we can learn something through the story. We can learn a moral of the story, we can learn a new idea or a new concept, okay? So we're going to read a story today, and it's called Whoever You Are. It's by Mem Fox. And we're going to read about, and we're going to learn what the central message of this story is. What can we learn from reading this story, okay? So go ahead and make some predictions. Think in your head, looking at the title and the cover of this story, what do you think it's going to be about? Joey? People. Where do you think these people are from? Naomi?
Maybe they're from different parts of the world, and it's saying like, whoever you are, be what you want to be.
Okay, so maybe that's the central message or the lesson of this story. Joe?
Everybody is different, and don't judge them for who they are.
Good. So you can say later. Nishi?
The lesson would be just don't change your personality. Just be whoever you are.
Okay, good. So those are really good predictions about what the central message might be. Isabella? Maybe it doesn't matter who you are, it just matters that you're a part of something. Great idea. Okay. So I know that you went to the international fair yesterday, so we can use some of those ideas that we learned there when we read this story, okay? So go ahead right now, do a self-check. Make sure you're not sitting next to anybody who's going to distract you. Make sure you're sitting with your legs crossed. Your attention is on me. So conversation right now is a 0. If you need help, you can raise your hand. Activity is we're going to begin reading our story. Movement, you're seated where you are, and participation. When you're sitting quietly and your eyes are up front and you're listening, I'll know that you're participating. Okay? So, like you said, it's called Whoever You Are. Little one, whoever you are, wherever you are, there are little ones just like you all around the world. Their skin may be different from yours, and their homes may be different from yours. Their schools may be different from yours. And their lands may be different from yours. Raise your hand if you're seeing some differences. Their lives may be different from yours, and their worlds may be very different from yours. But inside, their hearts are just like yours. Whoever you are, wherever they are, all over the world. Their smiles are like yours, and they laugh just like you. Their hurts are like yours, and they cry like you too. Whoever they are, wherever they are, all over the world. Little one, when you are older and when you are grown, you may be different. And they may be different, wherever you are, wherever they are, in this big wide world. But remember, joys are the same, and love is the same. Pain is the same, and blood is the same. Smiles are the same, and hearts are just the same, wherever they are, wherever you are, wherever we are, all over the world. So that's the end of our story. So through that story, we saw that we have a lot of things that are similar, right?
Yeah.
We also saw that there were differences, especially in those pictures. We saw a lot of things that were different, right? We saw some things that make us unique and make us special in our own way. Even though we do have similar emotions and similar feelings, we do also have differences. So right now, what we're going to do to think about what is different and to continue to learn about the central message of this story, we're going to use those numbers that were on your desk and we're going to separate into 4 groups. So we did this at the beginning of the year, but I have 4 questions for you. So we have these 4 questions, and we're in each of the different corners of the room, we're going to each be talking about a different question. So if you had a number 1 on your desk, you're going to be answering the question, what does love is the same mean? And we heard that in the story. We heard that love is the same. So think in your head, what does that mean? And if you're number 1, when I say go, you're going to go over to this corner, and you're going to talk with your other group members about that. If you had a number 2, you're going to be answering the question, what makes all of the children from the story the same? And what makes them all different? So if you have a number 2, you're going to go back into the corner by the library and answer the question there with your group mates. If you have a number 3, you're going to go into the back corner by the door, and you're going to answer the question, what would it be like if we lived in a world where everyone was the same? So think back to the story. I want you to be using a lot of key information and those details from the text. If we lived in a world where everyone was the same, what would it be like? Think about what the story was like, where we had some similarities and differences. And the last question says, what does being different mean to you? How are you different from your classmates, neighbors, and children all over the world? And if you have a number 4, you're going to go over to this corner, or like this area right over here by the desk. Okay? So when you're going into the corners with your groups, think about the central message and think about the lesson that we can learn through this story and use some of those details from the text when you're answering. Okay? Any questions about what you're doing? Who can raise their hand and repeat back to me what they're going to do? Nishi?
We just split into groups of what number what we had on our desk and figure out our costume.
Okay, good. Christina? Same thing? Okay. If you forgot your number, you can stop at your desk and quick check before, and then if not, go ahead to your corners. I'm going to give you about 5 minutes.
I know. There's 7. Boring, chaotic, okay, so you're chaotic, not true. Because they would just follow the light. Yeah, so
The same with everyone from where?
Can't live in the same place.
And you like the boys first. Okay, first of all.
Okay, keep talking.
I'm glad they didn't say
So what makes all of the children in the story the same?
Like if everybody had the same name, it would be
couldn't tell you.
Joe?
boring. It would be boring. Like there would be one.
So like if they were boring, where is different?
Because if you said hi to somebody, then everybody would respond like you are. Who's the real Jamie? So I would be so it's like hi Jamie, and then everybody just said hi back, and no one would Jamie.
That the story might be like,
It also failed. If we have the same like Naomi and mine, they would all
What if everyone just said the same name, but they're all everyone just
they're all humans. So keep the discussion going.
and everybody had like the same voice in here.
So what would it be like if we lived in a world where everyone was the
It
same?
would be boring, and the reason it would be chaotic was because you would,
tell who.
yeah, you would say like hi to somebody, and then everybody would just reply
same, so why would that be chaotic? We wouldn't be able to tell each other apart.
Yeah. Like being in the same place was just boring. And they were
If everyone was the same, and you say, hi Jamie, then everyone would say hi back to you.
there would be a chance.
You think there would be a war, so there might be a fight or disagreement?
They would have different feelings. And everyone else would say,
So what was your topic?
Some of us had black hair, or some of us had blonde, eye color, or sometimes
So the way that we look is different? The way that we look is different. The way that we can feel is Okay, boys and girls, give me 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Voices are off. So you can stay in your groups right now, but I'd like to share what you talked about with your group. So we're going to start off with group 1, and your question was, what does love is the same mean? So what did you talk about in your groups? Raise your hand. Nishi?
We talked about love is the same, and that means like everyone is different on the outside, but in the inside, everyone is the same because we have same emotions.
Good.
And love is an emotion, so that's what love is the same means.
So love is the same means that on the inside, everybody's emotions are the same, and everybody feels the same, can feel the same things. Good. Anything to add from any of your group mates? No. Group 2 said, what makes all of the children from the story the same and what makes them different?
Well, they dress differently, and they come from different countries and parts of the world.
What's off? You're listening. So they dress differently, they come from different places of the world. Good. What else did you talk about? Josh?
They both have different pains.
You can have different pains. Good. So you can feel pain, but you might have experienced different types of pain.
They can wear different clothes.
Wear different clothes. Good. What do we have in common? What is something that's the same? Giovanni?
They're all humans.
We're all humans. Good. What else? Leah? We all have the same heart. Good. So that means that we all can feel love, and like the first group was talking about, we can feel love and emotions the same. Giovanni?
We all go to school.
We all go to school. Good. In the story, what did it look like? Do you remember when the kids were at school? Joe?
One of them, they have like these long pieces of stone and birds.
Yeah, do you remember they were like white? It could have been stone or maybe long paper, but it definitely looked different from the way that our school looks, right? Good. Anything to add?
We all have different facial features,
We all have different facial features. Good. Like what?
like a nose, eyes, eyebrows, mouth, ears.
Good. So the way that we look on our face can all be different. Good. Group number 3. What would it be like if we lived in a world where everyone was the same?
It would be boring and we wouldn't tell people apart.
Good. So it would be boring. We would all look the same. Matt, why would it be chaotic? You wouldn't know who was who because we would all be exactly the same. Good. Matt?
That was what I was about to say.
You were going to say that?
Somebody says like I'm the strongest person in the room, and it might result in a fight because everybody might say like I'm the strongest, and it might result in like a giant fight.
Good. So if everyone's the same and everybody is saying I'm this and I'm that and everyone's the same, then they're going to start to fight about it because they might want to think that they're better. And good. Good thoughts. Anything else?
It could also be chaotic because you could say hi to somebody, and they would all have the same name, and then everybody else would reply back.
Yeah.
And they would have like the same voice, so you wouldn't know who was who.
Exactly. Naomi?
And if you're playing like a sport and there's not enough things and like maybe there's not enough people and they might have a fight about maybe they want to play first or they had the ball first.
Good. Great thoughts. Anything else to add from group 3? Okay. And group 4, you talked about what does being different mean to you and how are we different from our classmates, neighbors, and children all over the world? Isabella?
Some people, like if somebody likes animals and the other person doesn't, like that's different because somebody does like animals and somebody else doesn't.
So you could be different based on what you like. You might like animals and your friend or your neighbor might not. Good. Jessica?
We all have different hair. It's not like me and her have the exact same hair,
Groups are listening.
same inches, same length, same feeling. We have different. She has like dirty blonde, and I have dark brown, and he has short hair. And we have long.
Good. So Jessica mentioned, boys and girls, that the way that she looks can be different from the way that other people look. And Isabella mentioned the way that she feels and things that she likes and doesn't like can be different. So we can see that there are different types of differences, and being different means different things. Landon, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, most people see things differently, so like one person might look at one thing and say, oh, this is what I see, and the other person might see a different thing because they have a different opinion.
Good. So our viewpoints and our opinions and our thoughts can also be different. Good. And Matt and Joey and Brennan, what were you thinking in this group?
My mom, I was going to say the same thing as Matt, like we have different
The way that we can see things.
We're all talking about that.
Yeah.
Okay, we're talking about that.
Okay.
I say if I say it's a lot most you can't probably see that far like me.
Mm-hmm. So Joey, you're saying you have glasses because that's something that's different about you. What about from children all over the world? How are we different? What did you talk about? Jessica?
that some people do different things, like maybe for holidays, for like some people believe that Santa Claus is real, some people believe that Christmas is not real,
Good.
and somebody else brings a present.
Good. Isabella?
Some people live in different countries, like, and some people can talk differently, like if somebody talks Swahili, and then the other person talks Spanish and Texan.
Mm-hmm. So we saw in the book that people speak different languages. Landon?
And just so, like, if some... Oh, I forgot.
Okay, if you remember, let me know. Okay, boys and girls, anything else that you would like to add from any of the groups, even if your group didn't talk about that? Naomi?
About number 4.
Mm-hmm.
If someone likes something else, like maybe if Jessica likes milk or Joey likes juice, they have different things that they like.
So everybody likes different things in all different aspects.
And some people, they might think like a kitten is cute, and some people think that dogs are cute.
Good, good. Josh, was your hand up?
Nope.
Okay, Joe?
For group number 3, it would kind of be awkward if everybody would say, like, looks like Jamie, like all of Jamie's soccer team, you could never tell the difference, and it would kind of be weird.
Good. So if everybody looked the same, everybody looked like Jamie, we wouldn't be able to tell who Jamie was because everybody would be Jamie, right? So we saw in this book that there's all different types of people, and we saw through the pictures that there's all different ways that people can look. Vanessa? You forget? If you remember, let me know. Anything else? Jessica?
For group number 3, we would all have to live in the same house.
Yeah, we would all have to live in the same house.
And then when somebody needs to go to bed, everybody has to share with one tiny bed.
So it would be a kind of chaotic world, like they said.
It would be compact.
It would be compact. Good. Okay, boys and girls, when I call your group number, please head back to your seat. So we'll go ahead, group 4. Group 3. Group 2. And group 1.
Another classroom that use 2 iPads.
No.
Okay, boys and girls, so what I should see from you right now is you're sitting in your seat. Great example from table 3. Okay, so we talked about at the beginning of the story that we can learn a central message or a lesson. So through our discussion, I think that we learned a lot of different things. We talked about similarities, and we talked about differences, and we talked about people all over the world, and we saw all of that through the story. So what you're going to do now is by yourselves, this is an independent activity, you're going to respond to this question. What is the central message or lesson that you learned from reading the story, Whoever You Are? So this is your own personal thought. What did you learn? So it might be different. You might have learned something different, and the central message that you took away from the story could be different from the person sitting next to you, okay? So the Post-it notes should be on your desk right now. Just leave them there. Hands off of them. Landon?
Do you have to write an entire paragraph, or can you just write a few sentences or just one sentence?
So just write all of your ideas. So if all of your ideas take up this whole page, that's fine, okay? I'd like it to be in full sentences though, and I'd like you to write more than just one sentence, okay? So any questions about this? When you're answering your question, think back to the story, think back about the pictures and the text of the story, and think back about what you talked about with your group and also what you listened to the other group saying, okay? So conversation right now is a 0 because this is an independent activity. If you need help, you can raise your hand and I'll come around and help you. Activity is you are writing in response to the story that we just read. Movement, you're seated at your desk. And participation, when I see you writing and responding to this question, I will know that you are participating. And boys and girls, you can just write your first name at the top. You don't need to write your last name.
Josh, you have speech?
Thank you.
you have a book on your desk, go ahead and put it away. So I know I took your papers, but can anybody share with me what did they write? What did you, overall, what was the big picture that you learned? What was that central message? Jessica?
Love is the second most important thing in the world.
Okay, good. So love is one of the most important things in the world. Joan?
And that being different is okay because you're all the same. Not
Good. So being different is okay. Landon?
really don't judge a book by its cover, so don't just assume this person is like me or something, if it is ever like really be it.
Good. So you don't want to judge a book by its cover based on how they look. You want to get to know them. Nishi?
It doesn't matter if you're from another world because everyone will like you. Well, not another world, but another country. Because a human is a human.
Good. And what did the story say all humans have in common?
They all have love.
Love is the same. Good. And they said joy is the same and laughter is the same. John?
Like if somebody comes up to you and says you need to change, we don't like you, don't.
Good. Good. Thank you. Jamie?
Be yourself. Don't try to be somebody you're not. Don't try to be your friend or your cousin or anybody like that. Just try to be yourself.
Good. Thank you. Isabella?
Some people are different than other people. Like if somebody likes ice cream, I like ice cream. You're not different than the other person.
Good. So we have differences and some people are different from other people. Good. And we did see that in the book. We saw some differences, especially through those pictures. We saw some differences. Good. Okay, boys and girls.